Welcome everyone to the Leo new moon slash solar eclipse. And this is a preparation ceremony because it doesn't happen until Wednesday. But we're going to go ahead. There's an astronomical amount of things happening out there. And most of it is happening in preparation for this event. And it's an event. We just thought July was a ride. August is going to be just as exciting. That's a good way to put that. Let's call in things. All right. Let's take a big deep breath in. As we exhale, we're dropping our grounding cord, sending our roots down into the earth. And then inhaling, drawing that earth energy up through our bodies, sending it up and out through the top of the head, connecting with the heart of the divine above us. Inhaling, drawing that cosmic energy back down, sending it all the way back down into the earth, activating the as above, so below flow. Then connecting with that flow, breathing in, breathing out, activate the as within, so without, as the universe, so the soul. Moving to the north, we welcome Mother Earth. We give such great thanks to be here in physical bodies doing this sacred work right now. Moving to the south, we welcome water. We welcome clear, clean, current emotions. We welcome love, joy, flow, abundance. Moving to the west, we welcome air, mind, focus, and clarity. All of our guides, angels, allies, and helpers in the invisible realm. And moving to the east, we welcome fire, movement, passion, divine right action. Moving to the center, we welcome our divine feminine and our divine masculine in sacred right relationship. We call that beautiful energy down through our bodies. We call up Mama Gaia to pull and magnetize that energy through us. And we welcome our own sweet, extraordinary souls into the circle. We ask that all of these energies be with us, pray with us, and dance with us for our mutual benefit. Let's get up and move a little bit. Here we go. All right. Let's get this party started. So there's a lot, and I know everybody's got to be feeling something right now. Take a moment, close your eyes, drop into your heart, drop into your body. I am sure this is going to be a lot about preparation, what's coming before the moon, and to make way for this event, which is a final purge. So notice what your body is doing. Maybe remember what it's been doing throughout this time, because folks are already feeling this. So just notice and then take a breath. Excuse me. Take a breath and exhale and just let your shoulders drop and let your body relax. This is going to be our focus and needs to be our focus. Staying in your body and staying relaxed in your body. All right. So, like I said, there's a lot. This is just the first little aspect. This happened last week. Chiron turned retrograde in Taurus. So remember, Taurus is, I gotta get a drink. Taurus is all about the earth. Loving the earth, loving all things physical. And Chiron's all about healing, the inner healer or the wounded healer, called that by some. So, and it's right at the beginning of Taurus. So this is and because it's not moving, it's standing still, it can feel really heavy in your body. And you're probably having experiences like, I thought I cleared this already, or things that you have totally forgotten, wiped out of your brain because you didn't want to think about it at the time. And all of a sudden, it's just there waving at you. That's what this is about, because it's about letting go. We've been doing this for almost a good year, releasing, preparing. We're on the threshold. You hear these same things every time we get together. Well, we just get closer and closer to the door, basically. And so what this particular configuration is designed to do is help us look deeply. So childhood memories, past life memories, weird, just all the weird things that happened to you that you've forgotten. And then, the reprocessing or processing of that. It doesn't mean that anything's wrong with you. It may mean you're ready to look deeper, like you're ready to get really serious about what needs to be cleared out of your body. And think of it as the things you don't want to take. Because we did this, we timed it so that we would be here to be the ones to plant the seeds for the next iteration of humanity, basically. We desired that. We won a ticket. We got it. So now we're here. And there may be things in your life that you don't want that to taint the seeds that you're planting. That's what this time is about. Taurus is also associated with self-worth, money, possessions, physical security, the body, pleasure, comfort. and your ability to sustain yourself. So those kinds of issues might be waving at you. Things that might show up: fear that you don't have enough or you won't have enough, difficulty receiving money, support, pleasure, appreciate any of those things, even not being able to take compliments, believing your value depends on what you do or what you produce, anxiety about financial or material stability, discomfort in your body, just plain old physical pain, undervaluing your ability, time, or contribution, remaining in an unsatisfying situation because it feels familiar, using food, possessions, comfort, or routine to soothe emotional pain. You're going to see a lot of teachers out there talking about somatic practices for a reason. That's a healthier way to soothe your body than the old ways. And so you want to notice where you still default to those old ways. Those will become increasingly more uncomfortable. And they can also show up just like practical problems in the physical plane that really are about deeper issues like safety, trust, being able to receive help, all of those things. So, questions you want to ask, and I'll tell you to write these down because we won't journal with them now. This is why I did this one early, so you're going to have time because there's days and days. This was last week, and there's one happening today, and then a couple the next day, all the way up to the full moon. So we're going to go over many of them today. What do I believe I must possess or accomplish to feel secure? Where am I accepting less because I don't believe I deserve more? And what does my body need that I've been overriding? And I think all of us in here are doing that. We're all, fire horse year. We're used to going a certain pace, and the pace is picked up and more things are on our plate, and we think we just need to keep going. And maybe we need to pull back the reins a little bit. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and shift the slide. If you want to write those down, go ahead and write them down. What do I believe I must possess or accomplish to feel secure? Where am I accepting less because I don't believe I deserve more? And what does my body need that I've been overriding? Those are important. This is the foundational piece that is going to be the backdrop for the rest. Okay, here we go. There's more. Today, on the 6th, Venus entered Libra. And Libra is one of the signs that Venus rules. So it's going to be there through September 9th. So themes around harmony, diplomacy, beauty, partnership, fairness, social grace. It may be time to restore balance in relationships, resolve tension, beautify your environment. This one is going to be, because it's Libra, it's all about cooperation, fairness, mutual consideration. Everything needs to be in balance. If you're in the back side of this, the shadow part, you'll be noticing that you might spend time people pleasing in order to avoid conflict and preserve superficial peace. And this is more about being honest, and pursuing a harmony that respects everyone's needs. So this is about, like I said, being honest, putting all the cards on the table, being kind. That's Libra. And Venus and Libra, that's what this is. This is bringing that as a nice little flavor to add to the mix, because there's a lot of intensity in this mix. So today, Mercury enters Leo. Now we're going to have a lot of planets in Leo, in and out of Leo right now. And this is a Leo full moon solar eclipse. So when I say intensity, Leo is about fire. We'll talk more about that in a minute. Mercury in Leo is going to, Mercury is the communication planet. So it's going to bring confidence, creativity, warmth, dramatic flair. You might, and remember, we're at this threshold of folks that came in order to plant seeds for the future. This is getting you ready for that. You may be inspired to bring your life's work out to the public, to start. This is a very creative time to start creating things. And even though it feels intense, usually in times of change and transition on this planet, which is what we are in, creativity abounds. So if you feel that push, these configurations are getting you ready to do that. So storytelling, teaching, performing, promotion, leadership, creative writing. I mean, Substack is exploding right now for this reason. It's time to plant new seeds and get the gifts that you came to bring, get them out there to the public. The downside, there's always a back door. Exaggeration, stubbornness. None of you are stubborn, I'm sure. Really owning your opinions and not letting anyone, it's just the opposite of the Libra theme. It's like thinking that your way is the only way, focusing on being impressive instead of genuinely listening. At its best, Mercury in Leo helps you to express your truth with courage, generosity, and style. So this can be just it is an exquisite moment in time. If we use it appropriately, it can really benefit us. And then there's this. Let me pull you all down here. Yeah, that'll work. So the 10th through the 12th, Venus and Mercury. And remember, Venus is one of the big planets, has the most influence on this planet besides the moon and the sun. So it's a big deal. They're both Venus and Mercury is that planet of communication, are going to aspect the gods of change, Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus. So, and there's several different ones, but this is going to be this is the part where it gets intense. It can be very emotional and relational. So watch out for family gatherings. That's all I can say about that. It can also be very creative. There can be a lot of mental stimulation. And then Venus governs love, attraction, pleasure, creativity, money, values, relationships, hence the family gatherings comment. Mercury governs thinking, communication, information, decisions, negotiations. So just imagine that, and lots of differing opinions of people that haven't seen each other in a long time sitting down for dinner. That could be a very enlivening and enlightening experience, or it could be a train wreck. And you have to be, I mean, this is going to be a time where you want to just know this going in and just tread diplomatically. I don't want to say carefully or cautiously, diplomatically, because here's the other wrench in the soup, is that Pluto is going to be tied up in this mix too. And it's all about transforming. Let's clean this stuff up. It brings depth and transformation. Neptune heightens imagination, spirituality, compassion, and idealization. And then Uranus is going to bring surprise. So those moments in time when everything's going great and then all of a sudden something explodes, that's Uranus. And it's in Gemini, so it's all over the place. It can be very, very positive, like aha moments, you know, people gathering together that maybe you didn't think would ever get together and get clear on things. Or it could be just the opposite. And this is why the Chiron piece came in early. You want to get your stuff clear so that you can meet folks that may not be aware of what's going on, that, just kind of wander blindly through the world. They could get influenced and pushed around and not know it. So this is a nice little picture of part of what's going on. Venus is down here in Libra, and then Uranus and Pluto and Neptune is right up here. You can't see it because of this thing. Let's see. I know it is, Val. All right. So there's more. Here's the rest. So also on the 10th, which is tomorrow, Venus trines Pluto. We just saw a picture of that. So that can intensify attraction, emotional honesty, and you may want meaningful connection with people. You're tired of surface stuff. You may want to understand what's truly motivating you and what's motivating other people deeply. And so look at the issues that Chiron's bringing up for you, if there are any. And financial, relationship, creativity, stuckness, all those things, attachments, hidden desires, power imbalances. Just notice where those are showing up and use your tools, because those are going to get loud on the 10th, and then they're going to stay loud for a little bit, at least until the moon. Also on the 10th, Venus is going to be opposing Neptune. So you're going to long for beauty, romance, spiritual connection, emotional you're going to want all of those things. But you have to do something to get to them many times. You may have to forgive a lot of people. You may have to have compassion for people's shortcomings. You may have to get creative with that. And know that everyone is going to be highly sensitive around this time. So tread carefully. Because it's Neptune, it can also inspire you, which is where we all need to be, to remember why we came, the light we came to bring, and that this is just a cycle. no matter what is exploding around you, it's not the end. And things are going to be all right. It's going to be okay. Hold the vision of what we're creating here. And also, because it's Neptune, be careful what you decide to act upon. It could be all goodness and light. It could be an opportunity shows up and it's divinely appointed, or it could be projection, you hoping that this is what it means when maybe it doesn't. So, and I've had experiences like that already, and this hasn't happened yet, but those planets are big. So you may have already had some of these experiences. Those kind of experiences are going to intensify. And then Venus trines Uranus. So fresh energy, desire, once again, for that authenticity, changing. I can't tell you how many people I have heard in the past week, either through email, verbally, Zoom, all the things, saying, I'm drawing a line in the sand. I am not going to participate in this old story. Usually it's familial, an old pattern, an old relationship story. I'm changing that habit. I'm not going to be manipulated, or I'm not going to manipulate anyone. I'm not going to engage that. You're going to see that a lot, and you're going to be inspired to do that. And this transit supports that. You want to be careful that it's like what we want is balance. What we want to do is come through this with both eyes open and not lean one direction or the other. So you can be overly aggressive, or you can be overly passive or sentimental. And because all of these big planets are involved, there's an opportunity for new, innovative ideas, creating what you envision in a new way. So let yourself be open to that. And we're in the window now. I mean, usually the full moon window is a day before and a day after, but this has been going on for a week, and it's just going to get louder and louder as we build up to Wednesday. Wednesday, the 12th, is the full moon. We'll see that here in just a little bit. So the 11th, two more things on the 11th before we hit the 12th. So that is Tuesday. Mercury's going to be opposite Pluto. So intense thoughts, penetrating insights, consequential information. So lots of downloads of guidance, conversation that exposes what's been hidden. So these are those kinds, and it's not necessarily just random surface conversations. These are the life-changing things that happen. People find out things that have been hidden their whole life, kind of thing. In order to clear the decks so that we can go forward through the threshold with a clean slate. So even if it feels difficult, do your homework, research, investigate, plan, be willing to have honest, candid, kind conversations with people. Watch for obsessive thinking. The back door is obsessive thinking, suspicion, verbal pressure, power struggles. I mean, that's what all of this can show up as. unless you approach it in a calm, Libra, balanced way. You learn more by listening than trying to force your own way or force an answer. Yeah. It's going to be a new moon lunar eclipse on the 28th. I'm coming to that. Or excuse me, you're right. New moon, and I have that on the thing. New moon is this week. But because of the setup, it's going to feel like a full moon because it's all about releasing. It's going to hit the south node. We're going to talk about that in a minute. And then full moon lunar eclipse on August 28th. Yes, thank you for that. Oh, wow. Yeah, for sure. Okay. On the 11th, again, Tuesday, Mercury's going to trine Neptune. So there's going to be, Mercury's communication. Neptune is spirituality. So intuition, imagination, sensitivity to subtle information, downloads of information, dreams, symbolism, meditation, all of that. You're going to really be drawn to that Tuesday right before the new moon. Spiritual guidance, emotional undercurrents. This aspect can soften Mercury's opposition to Pluto. It'll add empathy and compassion. And sensitive topics can come up, but you can walk with grace through them. That's what Neptune is going to add. So there is going to be intensity, and it's just going to heighten after the new moon in Leo coming up on Wednesday. And it's going to continue until the full moon and the release on the 28th. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But this is one of those new moons where, even though it's about planting seeds, you want to look at what needs to be released so those seeds can grow. Because if you put them in dead or congested soil, we're going to have just what we have now. And what we're looking for is new. Okay. There's more. I told you, this is all in preparation for the new moon. Mars is going to enter Cancer. Right now, Mars is out of bounds. So he's bouncing off the wall out there. And what out of bounds means is he's not in the solar ring. So he's out on the periphery. But pay attention here once again. When we say intense, these can be volatile times. When Mars enters Cancer, it's going to be about water, fire and water together. And so lots of emotions can flare. You're going to feel very protective, very instinctive. You can use this time. You may want to clean your house. You can use this time to create safe space and home in your home, because there's going to be a lot of that kind of energy. There's also going to be energy to defend, to support loved ones that are maybe in situations that they shouldn't be. People are going to be pushing boundaries, and you may be wanting to defend your own or act on needs that you have previously not told anyone about. Because it's water, Cancer is that first water sign. Mars may not be quite as aggressive as it usually is, but it may show up more like a feeling, like a mood or caution or defensiveness or indirect action. So it can also look like manipulation. So it's going to be very important that you pay attention to what you're feeling before you respond and wait. Just like we said with the Neptune, lots of water here. Even though we have the Leo, there's lots of water. Kind of, it can cool things off or it can boil. And you have to be very careful. So it can give you, on the positive side of this, tenacity, emotional courage, fierce devotion to whatever or whomever you consider worth protecting. And you're just going to have to be really careful with that you don't overstep boundaries yourself. I'm glad you brought that up, Val, because these are big planets. This is, even though we bring all the information to you at once and we feel like we got to manage all of it, think of this more as a snapshot of what's coming so that you can prepare for it. And then in the moment, when things show up, you'll know what you can identify it and go, oh yeah, she said this was going to be like this. Instead of taking the bait and being triggered by so-and-so, I'm going to go do my own personal work, or I'm going to go meditate, or I'm going to go be by myself for a little bit and get clear on this. Don't feel like you have to go in and clean up everything and take all of this on all at once. That comes from our linear thinking here on this planet, and we're moving away from that. So take a breath and relax. I know it's a lot. And then this is on the same day as the new moon. Mercury is sextile Uranus. So this is going to be, here's the upside of all of this. Lots of emotional aha moments, mental breakthroughs. So maybe you're up against difficulties and you don't know what to do about them. You're going to get the guidance, new information, unexpected messages, sudden shifts in perspective, help you solve previously intractable problems. So brainstorming, technology, astrology, writing, teaching, problem solving, unconventional conversations. People may be open to new ideas. And here you go, Val. The deeper purpose of this 3-day pattern is to align your heart and mind with a more truthful, inspired, and liberated direction. If you want an intention for this new moon in Leo, there it is. Align my heart and mind with more truthful, inspired, and liberated thinking. Pluto is always going to ask you to acknowledge what's real, what's true, what's really going on here. Is that the truth? Yes or no? If it's not, what is the truth? Neptune is going to ask you to remain compassionate and imaginative. Uranus is going to ask you to release assumptions that prevent growth. So you can use these days for honest conversations, but don't pressure anyone for an immediate response. Welcome inspiration and intuitive impressions, but, allow time for the facts to come in. Notice where you may be confusing intensity with intimacy, fantasy, and this is a big one in metaphysical circles, fantasy with intuition. It's like, make sure it's real. Or rebellion with genuine freedom. So look at all of those things. And that's what this time is about. It's like we're down to what's still been floating around in there, the kind of, if you're clearing stuff, this is the stuff at the bottom of the barrel that may be sticky, that may be old, and this is what is wanting to be released. Isn't it a perfect intention? Yeah, it is. Okay. All right, so that was the buildup. Like I said, a lot for the new moon. And it's a full-on solar eclipse on the 12th at 12:37 p.m. Central Time. It'll be, it's going to be dark in places, especially in the Northern Hemisphere. It's going to hit Greenland and Iceland full on. Northern United States will see some of it, and some of us will see a partial, but you'll notice it. And it's a powerful time to open a new chapter of self-expression, creativity, just like we said, leadership, visibility, confidence, living from the heart. But this is a full solar eclipse. Solar eclipses are intensified new moons. Their intensity, like things unfold over 6 months time. So well into 2027, we'll still be feeling the effects of this. And this is it hits the south node. North node is where we're going. South node is where we've been. So it's a release point. And what that means is the new is going to come by what we release. It emerges. It's like, remember the popping open of the egg. It emerges from the things that we're letting go. So once again, before we just put all of the initiative into creating something, we have to make sure that our hearts are clear. You may need to relinquish an identity, an ambition, performance, relationship patterns, a source of validation that no longer reflects who you are becoming. So I hope that makes sense as you're setting your intentions. And here's something very interesting. This is what the chart looks like for this, for the new moon. You can see the sun and the moon together there at 20 degrees Leo, right there by the south node. So very, very close to each other. And all of these opposing planets, Venus in opposition to Neptune, there's Saturn. It's like, this can be a very intense release. And you may want to look at what was happening in your life in 2017 to 2018, in 2007 to 2009, or in 1998 to 2000. Think back, what was going on back then? Because we're at the same exact LIGO Aquarius eclipse axis that was activated back then. And it will be stimulated for the next 18 months. There's 18 months between each of these. So some are calling this, and so just like I said, we're at a threshold. We're at this new moon. Some are calling this new moon the reckoning, which makes sense. If you have been releasing for a year or 8 months, however long we've been trying to, really a decade or more that we've been preparing for this, it makes sense that we're down to the really nitty-gritty stuff. South node indicates removal. What are we letting go of? Now, and someone said there's a lunar eclipse coming up, and there is a partial lunar eclipse on August 28th. So the South node removal that happens on Wednesday, what it removes, and notice what's already ready to go in your life. What it removes was already finished. You have felt this already. The grief is the delay between knowing and admitting and saying it out loud, right? And then August 28th, there's a partial lunar eclipse right along with that full moon. So it's full on release, right? There's 16 days in between, and they will be intense because this releasing piece, it's like the sloughing off. Whatever you see leaving was already on its way out. Let that land. You just hadn't agreed to it yet. Some of these things are big and old, and so we've held on to them for a long time. But on August 31st, we lay the foundation for what is coming. So this is why we're still in this kind of purge, and the solar eclipse will purge a lot of things, solar and lunar eclipse. So take a breath with all of that. I know that was intense. Go ahead and write down some of these questions because they can influence your intentions that you're going to set. So are there people or influences in my life I need to clean up? What timelines still need shifting? What choices need upgrading to do that? Do I have things internally that I need to clear? Where can I be more creative? If I'm feeling emotional, how can I self-soothe so I can think clearly and make good decisions for myself? And what is all this turmoil trying to teach me? Where do I need to wait? And where do I need to move forward? I'm going to give you a few moments to write those down. There's a lot of issues around divorce. I had a few of those myself. Endings and beginnings, for sure. So I'm going to go through and just share the cards that I pulled for you. I'm not going to read them because this was big and long, but I will share them just so that you have a flavor of the energy. And I'll send the slides along with the recording, and that way you can read them if you want to. And that won't take up your time. We'll get you out of here in an hour. So in the Earth Door, I pulled present moment. Makes perfect sense with what we've been saying. Keep your energy in the here and now. Water, I pulled love. Once again, makes perfect sense with this is exactly what we need right now in order to balance those hot emotions. Energetic hygiene, keeping your physical body and your energy body clear. Fire, motivation, movement. You know, we're down to the stuff that nobody wants to move. It's like, really? This is, if you ever feel like being a slug, that's the kind of goop that we're in right now. And if Chiron's not moving, then it's going to feel hard to move. So you're going to need some motivation. Spirit, divine masculine. So calling in that benevolent, giving energy of the divine. So you're going to want to set an intention for this Leo new moon, but think in terms of what do you still need to release so that those new creations can come to fruition. And I can pop back up here to that line. Aligning your heart and mind with a more truthful, inspired, and liberated direction. I mean, that sounds like a very good seed to plant right now. And then we're going to dance and ground this energy. So let's get up and do that. So you have a couple more days to sit with all the information and the energy and really set your intentions the way you want them. That's the way I like to do it. Here we go. You are very welcome, everyone. There's this and this, and I am gonna stop the share. Let y'all see each other. I give such great thanks to the elemental forces for holding space for us today. And through this whole time, this whole tumultuous time. I give thanks for these beautiful souls that are so dedicated to doing their sacred work, that show up every week, every time we show up. And I close this circle in the light. All right, lovelies, I will see you soon. Have a good one. Be safe out there.